Hi there guys, so it has become apparent that Anthony Joshua is going to be cutting a little bit of weight going into the rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, first of all, I don't believe the weight cut will be as severe as some people believe. I think that Anthony Joshua may come in around 17 stone or just under that, which will mean he has lost half a stone, probably around 7 pounds. I don't believe that Anthony Joshua is going to take this too drastic with the weight cut, because I believe that training camp should be about honing your boxing skills rather than trying to cut weight. So Anthony Joshua is looking slimmer, and he looks more like a boxer now than he did in the previous fight against Andy Ruiz Jr., where he was quite bulky. And I mean, before that, going into the Vladimir Klitschko fight, the Carlos Takam fight, he was extraordinarily heavy considering he started his career at 16 stone. So will Anthony Joshua have cut a lot of weight? No. Will he have cut some weight? Yes. And the reason behind that, the weight cut is in order for him to be able to move his feet a lot better and be a bit faster as well, because this isn't necessarily just a puncher's fight. It is about speed and technical ability as well. Now, Anthony Joshua will be a bit lighter, and the reason behind that is, as I said, his movement, his speed, not necessarily just his power, because I believe the power will stay anyway. I mean, power doesn't necessarily come with weight. I mean, look at Deontay Wilder. He's only a few pounds over the cruiserweight limit, yet he has that concussive knockout power. So it's not necessarily about the weight of the fighter who is throwing the punch, it's about how they distribute their weight from their back foot to their front foot, how much power is in the punch. So ultimately, Anthony Joshua cutting a bit of weight will not strip away too much of his power, I don't believe. Plus, in boxing, a punch that knocks a fighter out is always the one they don't see coming. Look at Anthony Joshua. When he got caught with that punch, it was one that he didn't see coming. The punch that was thrown before that landed clean. It was the same punch with probably the same amount of power, but it did not move Anthony Joshua because it was on the chin, a place where Anthony Joshua could absorb it. Whereas the second punch, higher on the head, behind the ear, and scrambled his equilibrium, and it was in a place where it is very difficult for a fighter to absorb a punch. So naturally, also the worry would be that Anthony Joshua is not going to have the same kind of punch resistance in the rematch, but I don't believe so. I just believe that Anthony Joshua will need to be moving a lot better, and his footwork is going to be vital and key to his success against Andy Ruiz Jr. He's going to have to be moving his feet a lot more because he's going to have to frustrate Andy Ruiz Jr. Ruiz will come out and try and take centre ring. We know that. That's how he likes to fight. But can Andy Ruiz Jr. fight off the back foot? No, I don't believe he can. Can Anthony Joshua? Yes, he tried to do it last time, but it didn't work so well. But Anthony Joshua can box off of the back foot. He done it against Joseph Parker at times in that fight. So Anthony Joshua has that in his locker. Does he need to go in and try and back up Andy Ruiz Jr.? I mean, sometimes yes, but he doesn't need to go in there and try and push Andy Ruiz Jr. back straight away. What he does need to do is try and get that centre ring and make sure that he is not being backed up by Andy Ruiz Jr. Instead, he needs to be coming around to the side, and that is where his footwork will come in, as well as a very good jab and using his feet, obviously, to maneuver out of the way of Andy Ruiz Jr. because Andy Ruiz Jr. can't punch at angles. It is very hard for any fighter to punch when their feet are not set at that angle. So if Anthony Joshua is constantly moving off, then Andy Ruiz Jr. also has to reset his feet as well. So Anthony Joshua can keep that jab in his face, double it up, come around to the side, then Andy Ruiz Jr. will not see that right hand coming. That was one thing that was missing from Anthony Joshua's game last time. He was not setting things up with a jab. I believe that when a fighter is fighting, they should always start and finish with the jab, because that keeps your distance. You find your distance with the jab, then you can set up those punches and combinations. And when you finish, that jab comes out and it keeps the distance from the fighter as well. So that is going to be very important for Anthony Joshua in the rematch, his jab. And I mean, that is why the weight cut is going to come into it as well, because moving his feet and being lighter on his feet is going to be very important to creating new angles when he is in there with Andy Ruiz Jr., because Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to struggle with the angles that Anthony Joshua creates. I mean, it worked for Joseph Parker because Joseph Parker was struggling in the first 3 rounds against Andy Ruiz Jr., but he switched it up. Instead of just walking into Andy Ruiz Jr., he decided, I'm going to box him, I'm going to use my jab, ring craft, and I'm going to create angles. And that is something that Andy Ruiz Jr. struggled with for the duration of their fight after those first 3 rounds. So ultimately, Anthony Joshua will be cutting a little bit of weight, but I don't believe it will be as extensive as it is made out, because obviously Anthony Joshua is looking slimmer in some of the pictures before and after. He does look thinner, but I don't believe it will be as much as we first thought, because We've had this before, where we thought Anthony Joshua was going to come in lighter, he looks slimmer, then all of a sudden he weighs in the same as the fight before. So you can never really go off pictures because obviously angles and lighting come into it as well. So Anthony Joshua, I mean, he will be lighter, but I don't believe it will be as much as people are making out and believe at this stage. But I do believe it is important for Anthony Joshua to cut a little bit of weight, because I believe that the lactic acid seems to kick in with Anthony Joshua and he struggles to find a way back when he starts to get tired. Whereas if he is not carrying that extra muscle, then it won't drag him down so much and that lactic acid won't kick in. Because, I mean, carrying a bit more body fat won't be as bad as carrying more muscle, because then you don't have the lactic acid effect to deal with when you get tired. And it is very hard once that lactic acid effect kicks in to get that second wind. And that is what Anthony Joshua struggled with last time. So this time Anthony Joshua will be lighter, more trim, and he will be carrying less bulk, meaning he will be more like a fighter and an athlete rather than being so bulky and having that problem with the lactic acid in those later rounds. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that Anthony Joshua is going to be a lot lighter, or do you think the pictures are a little bit deceiving? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.